Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now, today's first story was cross-posted on our very own subreddit from AngelMaker9. It says MAKR9, so I do apologize if I got that wrong. You just tagged my name with the post as well, so thank you very much for that. It's a long post with multiple updates and a 10-year new update as well. It's got trigger warnings of stalking, obsessive behavior, and controlling behavior as well. It says, me, 31 female, with my fiancé, 33 male, fiancé's best friend, 33 female, have a weird relationship. It's driving me insane. Hi. I don't know how to approach the subject so that it doesn't sound like a rant. I've been in a steady relationship for the past 4 years. My boyfriend and I dated for about 15 months and decided to move in together. It's been wonderful. Recently, we got engaged and are now planning the wedding. We are both very excited about it. He's a great person, basically what you'd call a good guy. Very bright, super funny, has a good job, has always been caring and loyal, kind of a dork and a nerd in some things, which I love. I would say without a doubt that he's the best guy I've ever been with. I love him and he loves me very much. My family and friends adore him. So far, so good, right? Enter best friend Sandy. This girl is a total nightmare. They've been best friends like forever, and once I met her a few years back, I knew she was bad news. She's very attractive and knows it, always dresses kind of slutty, is a tease and a flirt. If you know the type, you can picture her. She has never been rude to me or anything like that. We just keep our distance. We are polite around each other and that's about it. She's not the idiot people think she is. She has 2 kids and recently got divorced. She has always been in his life and I can't seem to understand why. I'm not naive or narrow-minded. I have male friends and I'm the kind of person that believes that a man and a woman can be great friends without sex being involved. However, the relationship they have is just too much, too close for comfort, and everyone seems to think so, and it is been going on like forever. There are so many things I don't know where to begin without sounding like a crazy jealous person. The only thing that puts my mind at ease is the fact that she lives 1,000 miles away in South Florida. She is always texting him. I've checked his phone a couple of times. He doesn't mind, we're very open with each other, and I know I shouldn't, but still. She's constantly telling him she misses him, that they should see each other more often, that when is he coming home, that she wants to come up to see him, that a song reminded her of him. All sorts of stupid things, pictures, selfies, etc. Sometimes it's like a couple of 15-year-old kids, and I don't make a fuss about it. The one thing that really freaks me out is when she tells him she loves him. Love is a very strong emotion for me, and he says he loves her back. I don't like that part at all, and the fact that she's drunk dialed him a couple of times at very odd hours, even when she's married, makes me so mad. We've had a couple of strong disagreements about that over the years. I've met his family, and they are very nice folks, and they like me. His sister and I get along pretty good. We have a lot in common, and we become good friends even with the distance. The first time I met her, she found out that best friend Sandy was coming to town, and didn't look happy. A couple of years after we knew each other better, I asked her why she didn't like her, and she told me that she never did. Even when they were kids, she didn't like her, that she was always trouble and did crazy things, that no one in the family liked her, but since she'd always been there, they kind of just tolerated her and accepted her in the household. She shared with me that while they were preteens, she would always be at their house hanging out, and that she would stay at night and sneak into my fiancé's room. Apparently their parents didn't know or didn't care. In high school, she was always kind of a bitch while my fiancé was kind of a nerd, and that she never understood how they remained friends. They didn't even hang out around the same group of people. His first girlfriend always felt threatened by her, and she wouldn't be the last one to feel that way. I knew all this because of what my fiancé's sister observed and told me. She's a couple of years older than him. I talked to him about it and he said it was true, no problem there. I've asked him a couple of times straight up if they ever had some kind of physical relationship in the past, but he has always denied it. He says they're only friends. When she was married, my fiancé was the best man at her wedding, at her insistence. Her now ex-husband and kids would spend time together with us, going on holidays or meeting up for special occasions. And I must admit, I got along better with her husband than with her. He was about 10 years our senior and always seemed oblivious about their weird relationship or just didn't mind. My fiancé is godparent to her youngest kid. They both call him uncle. He adores them and they adore him back. He's great with them and his nephews. He's wonderful with kids and I can't complain about it. A couple of times, best friend Sandy's dad or other family members have been in town and they call him and have lunch together or just meet up. I can tell they're very fond of him and care a lot for my fiancé. Last year, he flew down to Florida so they could go to some convention because she got tickets that were hard to get. A couple of months ago, I went with him to his parents' house. She showed up unannounced and they got drunk in his parents' living room watching stupid movies while I was sleeping. We got into a huge fight because of it. His sister told me they used to do that kind of stuff all the time and it just made me angrier. We all ended up having Christmas supper a couple of nights later with her and her kids in my future in-law's house. It was not a happy moment. He doesn't even drink, just a beer every once in a while and wine with a good meal. This girl just brings the worst of him. I've met his friends and people close to him. One of his best male friends lives in a neighboring town with his wife. They all went to Florida State together and the three of them at one time shared an apartment. They are our closest friends. His wife has always told me that she can't stand best friend Sandy and straight out calls her a whore. So to the point, now that you have an idea of what I've been dealing with. A couple of nights ago, we're at our place with some other friends celebrating our recent engagement and setting the date. She told me that there was something I should know. It was about best friend Sandy. Like I said, I knew she didn't like her one bit, so I didn't think much of it at first. She told me she hated the fact that even though she didn't attend Florida State with them, she still managed to show up all the time. She would stay weeks at a time in my fiancé's room, and that she ruined a couple of relationships for him. Going so far as to punching one of my fiancé's exes because she had cheated on him. The story was that they had plans to go for spring break, and since my fiancé was single at the time, he took best friend Sandy. I told her I knew all of this. Now the part that I didn't know, but she felt I should, was that they both had been drinking all week. No surprises there. One morning she walked into their room and they were both naked with another couple in there as well. I asked her naked like with underwear or with something covering themselves and she said no, completely naked. She didn't see them having sex, but two girls and two guys naked in a room makes you think, what the hell is going on? All this was before I met him, and I know everyone has a past, but that really shook me. Every time I hear one of those stories, it gets to me. This one was over the top. Have I been blind all these years? I've been honest about my feelings and confronted him about other things, but not about this. He usually just laughs and brushes it off saying it was nothing, and keeps on insisting that they've only been friends. Very good friends, and that nothing has been going on or ever will. I have an older sister and we are very close. I told her about all this and we both agree that their relationship is too weird. It seems very unlikely for them not to have ever hooked up or been intimate. And now with this new information I have more doubts. We're making plans for our wedding to make things worse and I laugh and smile so I won't cry. Best friend Sandy is going to be the best man and already she's talking about planning his bachelor party and even a trip to Vegas. TLDR, now here is what's driving me crazy. He's never lied and I feel he has nothing to hide. He's always been honest when I question him about anything. Is he lying about this? Just so I won't get paranoid all the time. My sister says I should make him stop being friends with her after we get married, but on the other hand, I know him and I know she's important for him in his life. He told me on numerous occasions that he's never wanted a relationship with her other than friendship and that he wants to spend his life with me. Am I being crazy, paranoid, jealous, and insecure? Is it possible for two people to have that kind of weird friendship, or am I right to feel that way? What should I do? And just a reminder, this all happened over 10 years ago, but the first commenter said, this sounds more like everyone just hates her and you want her gone for that reason, not because they're cheating. To be honest, it kind of sounds like everyone gangs up on her. Why exactly is she a whore again? Did she cheat on her husband or something, or is she simply a whore because she is close with your husband, drinks, and you don't like how she dresses? But, on the other hand, it's totally possible he's lying. We have no way to know. If you think your fiancé is lying about having been intimate with her, then you must also think he's capable of lying right now about their relationship. Don't marry someone you don't trust. If you can't get past this, break it off. If you go through with the wedding, you're going to have to accept it. Another commenter says, I think everybody is demonizing this Sandy chick, even the OP. Why? Because she dresses flashy? Because she's attractive? Because she's a girl? If she was ugly and dressed like a nun or a 200-pound guy named Frank, would you be feeling so terrible? I think this chick might actually care for your fiancé just like a real friend would. OP said it herself. She has never been rude to her, just polite. She has known him all her life. She named him godfather of her kids. She punched a girl in college for cheating on him. She really cares for him, and he's an important part of her life. Like the other guy said, if they would have wanted to be together, it would have happened years ago. So what if they get drunk together and watch stupid movies? You know who you do those things with? Your friends. Don't listen to your sister and don't get on the bad side of your fiance's friend. Believe me, if she really wanted you out of the picture, you would have been gone a long time ago. Is it a weird friendship? It is. We all have crazy friends. This one just happens to be an attractive girl. Regarding the nakedness thing, ask him. It could be lots of things. Everyone experimented in college, and if he is as honest and sincere as you say he is, I'm pretty sure he'll tell you the truth. And one more comment who says Sandy is bad news and she'll always be a part of your man's life. You'll never change it because that's what Sandy wants. She locked it in when she made your man her son's godfather. Your man is emotionally committed and involved with this woman in her life and the life of her children. I think that means much more than maybe a drunken hookup with a very attractive friend somewhere in the past. Sounds like your guy's honorably, so I doubt he's hit it again, but sex isn't a thing. He's in a serious emotional relationship with another woman. You can't ask him to change his behavior or his relationship with her. You can try, but he'll never shake free of Sandy. He'll just try to hide it and resent you. If things with Sandy change, he'll have to want to make the change. So how do you feel about Sandy coming along for the ride? If it's not what you want, just end it with him and tell him why. No yelling, no screaming, no crying, just the facts. If he gets upset because you're doing this now after you're engaged, just tell him that getting engaged changed and snapped everything into focus. It does that sometimes. If you do break up with him, whatever you say, do not talk bad about Sandy. Don't say that she's manipulative or a user or anything like that. Just say he's in a serious and committed emotional relationship with another woman, her family and her children, and that relationship predates your relationship with him. Tell him you aren't interested in being in a three-way emotional relationship. It's obvious how much Sandy means to him, becoming godfather to her son, so you can't ask him to change or cut Sandy out of his life. The reason you don't want to say anything bad about her is you want to set the stage for your man to tell you how it really is with Sandy. The last thing you should say is, even though it's killing me, I know I can't share you emotionally with another woman. I don't see any other option for us moving forward. Then ask him, unless you can see a path forward that I can't. Now he'll tell you how he sees you and Sandy fitting into his life. The OP does update with their first part, which came a month after the original, and said, "Hi, thank you all for all your comments and advice. Some of them were really helpful. I just wish I would have paid more attention to them instead of blindly rushing into things. I confronted my fiancé. Calmly one night while we were out for dinner, I told him I didn't want Sandy to be the best man at our wedding. I didn't want her to plan his bachelor party, and most importantly, I didn't want her in our life anymore. Of course that he could still keep in touch with his godson, but to limit all contact to that. It didn't go well. At first he thought I was joking. When I told him I wasn't, he said he couldn't believe it. He told me that he'd always been truthful and honest with me from day one, and that he'd never lied about their friendship to try and hide it or downplay it. Then he couldn't understand after all this time why I was bringing it up now. We argued some more. It didn't get heated, just an argument. We left it like that, agreeing to nothing. The next day I asked him what he thought about the conversation we had the night before. He said I was overreacting, that he couldn't understand why I was being so obtuse about it. I told him things were going to change, that we're getting married. He told me things shouldn't change, especially since we've been living together for some years, and happily, he added. It kept going back and forth for a while. He basically dismissed it and said I wasn't thinking straight. He jokingly called me a bridezilla. That really made me mad. A couple of days later, I gave him an ultimatum. I told him I didn't want Sandy as the best man and I didn't want her in our lives anymore. My now ex-fiancé has always been a calm person. I, on the other hand, have been more emotional and impulsive. He told me to think about what I was asking him. She wasn't a part of our life. She was a part of his life, and that indeed sometimes lines had been crossed. Even though he didn't see it that way, he respected my point of view. However, he was willing to make some changes. No bachelor party, would try to ease down on the contact. But that was it. That he wasn't changing her as best man. She was his best friend, had always been, and that nothing I or anyone could say or do would change that fact. He said that I knew him, and that he wasn't a kid who reacted the way I did. He pointed out that I knew he was a reasonable and understanding guy, but that was unfair to put him in this position. He said that I was emotional and to reconsider and give it a couple of days to cool off. I yelled at him and told him to choose. He didn't say anything. He slept on the couch. We didn't speak for about 2 days. It was the weekend and he told me he wanted to talk to me. I agreed. He asked me what my thoughts were. I told him I hadn't changed my mind. He asked me if I was 100% sure about it. I said I was, that my mind was set. No Sandy best man, no bachelor party organized by her, and no contact. He just said okay, then it's over. Call the wedding off. I almost had a heart attack. I was furious and broken. I got very agitated. I told him I couldn't believe he picked her over me. He said he didn't, that he had picked himself, that if I couldn't accept him the way he was, as I had always done in the past, and couldn't trust or believe him, it was over. That he had always trusted me and that if I couldn't do the same, it wasn't worth the trouble. I yelled at him some more and told him I knew about the time that they went on spring break together. He told me they had a vacation tons of times together, as a matter of fact still did, that I knew all this. I asked him, but what about the time you were naked together in a room with another couple? He told me all I had to do was ask him and not create this drama. This made me madder. He told me he'd always been honest with me and still was, that he didn't have anything to hide, that it was probably this person who had told me. I said it was. We calmed down a little. He asked me if I wanted to know. I told him I did. He said it was true, but they had been indeed naked together in a room when this person walked in. They had met a slightly older married couple on the first day there. After some drinks, some partying and spending time together, they suggested a swap, exchange couples. They were attractive and he said sparks were flaring. Also that it was during a time they were both single, young and wanted to experiment, so they had sex in the same room. I told him, so you had an orgy? He said no, it wasn't an orgy, he had sex with a girl and Sandy with the guy, but that him and Sandy never had sex. I told him, so you expect me to believe you were naked with her in the same room, in the same bed, while she had sex with a strange guy and you had with his wife and you two didn't do it? He said, exactly. I told him I didn't believe him. He said that was on me. It was the truth. He had no reason to lie about it. He'd never lied to me before and wasn't about to. And also that this happened over 10 years ago before I met him, and that whatever happened, it didn't matter because it was the past. I told him I wanted him out. He said he would leave the next day. Before he left, he told me he loved me and that I was wrong and making a mistake. He told me that I knew him and that if he walked out the door, I would never see him again. I wished him well and that I wasn't changing my mind, that he had chosen her and that he was a liar. He told me to keep everything and that he would come when I was at work for his things. I haven't seen him since. Those first days were bad. I felt terrible. I spoke with my sister and said I'd screwed up, big time. Now she tells me. I was still angry and felt righteous. I'm pretty stubborn. I sent Sandy terrible text messages telling her she was a whore and that I hoped she was happy for ruining my life. She never replied, not one of my proudest moments. He came back while I was at work and picked up his things, his clothing, books, toys and stuff, and he left everything else, even some stuff I'd given him as gifts over the years. He left the key. I lost it. I couldn't believe you would go through with it and just end it all. We're adults, for God's sake. I called him, texted him, emailed him, got no answer. I called his work and they told me he was unavailable. I called his sister, who I considered my friend, and she said she didn't want to get involved. I haven't stopped crying. I went to my sister's and told her everything. Now she's claiming that I overreacted, that I took something small and blew it out of proportions, that he was a good guy and that I shouldn't have put him in that position. I told her she was the one who advised me to give him an ultimatum. Now she claims I misunderstood her. Gee, thank you, sis. My mom is also aware. She agreed with my sister and told me I had screwed up. However, that it was my decision and they both supported me. My sister said I would never find a guy like him. I was so angry at her, mostly because she is right. I had time to think about all this and I have been hurting bad. I think maybe I made a mistake. I think I acted impulsively and irrational. I hate to admit it, but I was jealous, envious and insecure of what they had. Some things are true. Like one of the replies here said, they've had all their lives to be together. Why haven't they? If Sandy really wanted to ruin our relationship, she could have done it a long time ago. This is on me. And also like one of the other persons who kindly commented said, after rereading it and paying attention, she was never rude to me or disrespectful. She kept the distance and never invaded my space. She had done nothing. The only time she was not polite was once when her kids were misbehaving and I yelled at her for it. She got mad and said they were children after all. I think I was a bitch about it and deserved it. I never apologized about it. Also, I was too judgmental and let myself be influenced about what other people said about her. The naked thing, even though it sounds implorable, might be true. He'd never lied to me. On numerous occasions in all these years, he answered my questions, even if they were stupid and petty. I just couldn't let it go. My sister points out he could just not have told me, pretend it never happened or simply deny it, saying it was all a lie or a misunderstanding. I would never have to know. He chose to tell it to me every time. He was the best guy I've ever been with in my life, no doubt there. He always treated me right, was a real gentleman, never disrespected me in any way, never raised his voice, did small stupid things like open doors for me, pick me up at work, even when I didn't need it. He is smart and hardworking. He wasn't wealthy, but he took care of all the bills.
At first we shared rent, later he took care of that on his own without me asking. Always said I should save up my wages or spending it on myself. He was attentive and tolerant towards me when I had one of my fits. I admit sometimes in the past I acted like a spoiled brat, but he was the first person to never say it out loud or point it out to me. My life has gone to hell, and I can't help but think it was my fault. Like my sister said, I made my bed, now I have to sleep in it. TLDR, there is none. I've kept on trying to get in touch with him with no luck. I'm now sitting at my place alone, which I'm pretty sure I won't be able to afford anymore, on a Friday night on Reddit. Fuck my life. Anything you say is welcome. Thank you. I had a quick browse through the comments on this one just to see what the kind of vibe is. Many people saying that OP fucked this up completely and that's on them, and they should just leave the guy alone and work on themselves going forward. Other people sympathetic towards OP, saying, he wouldn't have been happy with the Sandy situation if you'd gone ahead and married this guy anyway, no matter how wonderful he may be in other regards. That their relationship was always going to bother you and, resentment would have built up in different ways. So it was 6 months after that update, OP came in with another one and says, a lot of you wrote me for an update, so here it is. Finally, I learned. But before, I think I made things worse. After the second post, I was pretty upset. Almost everyone was blaming me and practically jumping up and down because I had put my fiancé in that position. Why is it so easy to judge when I'm being honest and truthful? I went to my ex's work just to talk to him. He wasn't answering my calls or texts and had changed his number. I wanted to explain to him that I was wrong and that I had made a mistake. Also to give him some of the toys he had left behind. They were in a box and I'm pretty sure he didn't see them when he moved out. Mostly it was just to apologize. After all, was it too much to ask? We'd shared our life for 4 wonderful years. I didn't go in or anything like that, or I didn't want to cause a scene. I waited for him outside so we could talk. My sister came along with me for support. I thought about maybe finding out where he was living. I knew he had moved closer to his job. Sis thought that was a better idea than showing up at his work unannounced, but I thought about it and decided it was way too creepy. It didn't go well. The moment he saw me, he walked away fast, almost running. He didn't even pretend not to see me, he just ignored me and walked in the other direction. I didn't chase him or anything, I just sat down at a coffee shop and cried. Why was he acting that way and completely ignoring me? I left him a note on his car, a nice note, apologizing. I followed some of the advice I read on Reddit. People seem to discard at once the advice on the internet. I'm thankful the persons who know me personally aren't so impartial or clear-headed as some of you. Thank you all for putting things in perspective. Some of you can see things from my point of view and understand me and not call me a wacko for wanting a better life and a good marriage. I've now accepted the fact that we will most certainly not getting back together. The first thing I did was apologize to Sandy. I sent her a very true and heartfelt message explaining that I was emotional and unjustly discarded my anger towards her. I never received a reply. I also apologized to his sister. She didn't reply either. That hurts me because I thought we got along and considered her my friend. She just stopped answering my calls. All the people we had in common, whom I thought were my friends, are simply ignoring me and cut me out, except for this person. She seems to be a real friend. She's very understanding and supportive. Her husband, on the other hand, has given her a very hard time about the whole situation and having a lot of marital trouble because of it, almost to the point that he has practically forbidden her to contact me. That was about 3 months ago. Every once in a while I would send my fiancé a text or maybe an email to see how he was doing. He never responded. He even blocked me from social media. Mostly all of our acquaintances did the same. He didn't even contact me on my birthday, when in the past he gave me a great gift and flowers. About 2 weeks ago I got a phone call. It was Sandy. I was shocked that she had called me. She said she was in town and wanted to meet. I had my suspicions that she would be in town because of that stupid Star Wars movie. I knew they would see it together. My sister, who I'm staying with, wanted to come along. I told her no. I had to give up my old place because I can't afford it. I know some of you will laugh and I deserve it. I was clueless as to how hard it was and how expensive life is when you're on your own. I had to cut down on almost all the things I used to do. We met at a coffee shop. She said I knew that I wasn't her favorite person at the moment. The feeling was mutual. She started by telling me that this whole deal needed some closure. She said he didn't know she had contacted me. She told me I had made a mistake, that we're all human and that all of us makes mistakes. She told me that my ex-fiancé was hurting bad, was upset and very concerned, that it had been many months and that I hadn't stopped harassing him. I almost interrupted her at this, but let her finish. She said she cared about him. As a matter of fact, she stated that she cared about him so much that she had swallowed her pride and came to talk to me. I thought that was very noble on her part and told her so. She said I had to stop trying to contact him, that it was not cool, and that it had to end, all of it. The text messages, the emails, the phone calls, not only to him, but also to his sister, to his friends, and to her. That she knew my sister was the one who sent her messages, but that she was going to let that one slide. I knew about it and did nothing. It was all on my sister. Also that I crossed the line when I called his parents. This was very innocent on my part. There was really no bad intention. Once I had called them. Once. To see how they were doing. I could simply not write this part down and share it, but I decided to be honest. I asked her if maybe she would talk to him and explain that it was my bad to put him in that position and I just wanted to apologize. That if she really was his friend and wanted what was best for him, that maybe she could suggest that with some therapy we could work things out. She stared at me blankly and stayed quiet for a couple of seconds. She said she was going to be blunt. She asked me if I was clear what was going on. Sounding very condescending, by the way. She didn't give me a chance to answer, she just kept going. "There is no couples therapy," she said very loudly, practically yelling at me and hitting the table. Everyone looked at us in the coffee shop. I'm quoting her. "I'm here because you have to stop what you are doing. All of it. He's going to get a restraining order against you." She said that if I hadn't taken the clue that he didn't want to talk to me or have anything to do with me, that he had changed his phone number twice and that she had done the same. She asked me if I thought that was the way a normal person reacted. That really got me. It was not very honorable or decent on him to behave like that. It made me so angry. What exactly had I done? What? Just because he was rude and didn't reply to my messages, like any sane adult would. I wasn't chasing him around, slashing his tires, or doing all those weird things a crazy person would do to merit a restraining order. Not a good call on his part, and I will never forgive him for that. My heart shrunk a little. I calmed down again and told her that I was not a crazy stalker. I told her it was going too far on his part. Reality check? A restraining order? Please. Again, she stared blankly at me. It was infuriating, but I kept my composure. "Okay, whatever," she said. This was a courtesy call. She said she didn't owe me anything, but that really had to cut it out and had to stop before things got out of hand. We sat in silence, finishing our coffee. I asked if it was about the work thing. I explained that I just wanted to apologize and talk to him and drop off some things he had left behind. Some of his toys, I knew they were important to him and that he overreacted. I was calm and didn't want to make a scene. She wasn't and was obviously emotional. She said, loudly I might add, that I had sent him several texts and emails telling him he was going to be sorry and that he was going to regret breaking up with me and leaving me at the altar. She practically yelled, "What the hell's the matter with you?" I think he took it out of context. It was never my intention for that to be taken in a bad way, but I kept my mouth shut. I may have been angry at first when I sent him those stupid messages and not thinking straight. Of course, I did not mean it in the way she put them. It was an exaggeration, and all I said was that he had almost left me at the altar. We were engaged, for God's sake. It was excessive and way over the top, but it was never as bad as she claimed it was. I'm not going to lie or sugarcoat it. It was an error of judgment and a huge mistake in my weakest moment. She said she was leaving. Before she left, she told me that she had tolerated me all these years despite my childishness and disrespect, because for some strange reason my ex-fiancé had cared about me, that I was a grown woman and that I shouldn't stoop down so low, that she didn't have anything else to say, that please I should listen to her and follow her advice and not contact her ever again, and to tell my crazy sister the same. She used those exact words about the toys, to throw them away or do whatever I wanted with them. She left. Now, I can understand the bad attitude and her patronizing demeanor. I deserved it. The text messages I had sent her were very bad. The ones my sister had sent her were worse. I never told my sister to do that. She cares about me and was angry. It was a hurtful thing to do. That, I admit, is on me 100%. But to go as far as saying she had tolerated me, had disrespected her before I sent the messages? Never. I was troubled about their weird friendship, as so many people pointed out in the past, and I shared that on many occasions with my fiancé, but never acted on it. I was the one who had to tolerate her. She was the one who was toxic, like so many people pointed out. I'm not saying I'm an innocent bystander, but it all began with her inappropriate behavior with my fiancé. Again, I think she was exaggerating, overreacting, and creating a bigger issue about some small misunderstandings. I did get the message loud and clear after our meeting. I should get over it and start my life again. That was a real eye-opener. I think the thing about the restraining order, if it was ever true, was just over the top. Believe me, I have my doubts about it, but still, like I said, received loud and clear. I sent one last email to my fiancé thanking him for everything. It wasn't one of my smartest moves, but I had to speak my mind. I told him that now I understood that Sandy and him were real friends. I didn't mention the fact that she had been sneaking around and had spoken to me, and that I wouldn't throw his toys away as I knew they were important to him, and that I would keep them in case he ever wanted them back. My sister said we should cut off the heads of the toys and send them by mail or sell them online. A joke, of course, to be clear. I apologized again for all the other messages. I explained that I was emotional, a normal reaction. After all, we had a life together, and that I wouldn't be contacting him ever again. No I love yous, no begging him to take me back. I still had some dignity left. No weird things, just that. Very simple. Next day, to my surprise, best friend Sandy called me. She was screaming at me and said she was going to kick my sorry ass if I didn't cut the crap. Her words, to consider myself warned. I wish I had somehow recorded her call. It was very intimidating. Like my sister said, who's the crazy one now, bitch? I think that was uncalled for. There was no need for that. I don't want to validate myself or say I was right all along, but to threaten me, that's just too much in my book. I always knew she was prone for violence. First, she is very condescending and practically calls me a stalker, and now she is threatening to do physical harm to me. I wasn't going to go to the police or anything like that. I'm going to be a better human being and leave it at that. Things at work haven't been so good, as you can imagine. Christmas was horrible. I started going to the gym as someone suggested to clear my mind. I convinced my sister to join me. We both need to get out there. I've been thinking about going to therapy. I've been lonely and feeling kind of depressed. These past few weeks have been rough. I will admit, this is not the outcome I expected. I think I've learned my lesson, a hard one. I'm moving on, and I know better times will come. Regarding some of the comments, no, I'm not crazy. No, I'm not a stalker. No, I'm not delusional. No, I'm not going to kill myself. No, I don't live in 17th century England where men and women can't be friends. Some kind souls out there understand me and share that my demands and ultimatum were extreme but justified. TLDR. I don't think OP's learned how TLDRs work yet. Bottom line, I'm not allowed to have emotions. Am I not entitled to have an opinion different from everyone else? I'm not allowed to think that the relationship they had over all those years was over the top. So I am immature and behave like a child because I think different. I'm the bitch because of all this. I'm not comfortable about my future husband and his wild female friend being way too close. And speaking my mind about it, I had the best intentions, and that if it was going to end, was it too much for it to end in good terms? The least he could have done was acknowledge me and give me 5 minutes to apologize. That is what a real decent man would have done. That is all on him. Still remembering this was all 11 years ago, and I'm just going to read the top comment from that update. And it says, I read through all the threads and I'll tell you this. Your initial suspicions and problems with his relationship with this woman, I understood. The not wanting her to be the best man thing, I kind of understood because their relationship does seem more than what they both let on. However, you spiraled down in a well of crazy after that. You are a stalker. You have harassed this poor guy for 6 months trying to get back together. If you didn't take the hint the first 100 times he didn't respond to you, why wouldn't you 6 months later? You can't just go nuts and contact everyone in a person's life trying to get at them when they have made it clear they don't want you in your life. If you want real honest advice, it's not the gym you need, it's therapy. You need to see how unhealthy your behavior is and how obsessed you are with this guy. It sounds like you have made this guy's life hell by trying to get back into his when all he is doing is trying to move on. Please, go get help, because the fact that you can't see how crazy your behavior is extremely worrying. As we said, we got another update which came 10 plus years later, and it says 10 plus years, update, consequences and lessons learned. I've not been on Reddit for a while. Here is the original, shared the link. Hello, I'm alive. Well, it's been a little over 10 years from my last update. The other day I was listening to some Facebook reel and what do I find? My old story. I haven't been on Reddit for a while and had a hard time tracking my old account and password. Have some news. This is going to be long. First, let me tell you I'm doing much better. Had to move in with my mother as her health has not been the best. I'm a single mother and have a wonderful daughter. Unfortunately, due to circumstances, she lives with her father. My sister is not doing so good. She has struggled with weight issues and depression. Things are improving for her and she has some lovely pets to keep her company. I'm in a much better place now. I had a lot of therapy and has helped me cope with a lot of issues. Understand things differently, making me a better person. My life has been a lot tougher than I expected. I'm trying to focus on being a good mother, a good daughter, and a good sister. I have some nice co-workers. Sometimes we go out and hang out after work. Just a shade of the old social life I used to have. It's been humbling. I have not been lucky on the dating scene. I'll be honest as I can. It's been a long time so I can't remember every detail. However, I believe it to be therapeutic to get this out. I did get served with criminal charges for stalking and harassment. It was a lot of trouble for me. It is too long and painful, but the highlights are. My sister and I could not contact my ex in any way. I had to stay some distance away from him. I could not contact him via third parties or use anyone else to get messages to him. His family was off limits. I could not contact his work. I could not go to his house. I did not see him in person again. It was all through his attorney. I had to get a lawyer at first. I thought I did not need one. In my hubris, I believed I was in the right and had nothing to fear. I was angry and felt wronged. However, my ex's lawyer contacted me and told me I needed one ASAP because this was no civil court. The charges were coming from the state. He told me I would most certainly go to jail. My mum helped me pay for one, and it was not cheap. It was humiliating and a very eye-opener. We met with someone from the prosecutor's office. Can't remember the title. They presented a large number of printouts of the messages I had sent to my ex, Sandy, and his friends. There were prints out of the social media posts I made. There were recordings of the voice messages me and my sister left him, his sister, Sandy, and a couple of his friends. There were call logs of when I contacted his work, recordings of said call statements from our old group of the people who believed were my friends, from his family, from his sister, including the ones in which I was just venting, emails I had sent, emails my sister had sent, even some from fake accounts in which I pretended to be someone else. They did not paint me in a good way. Now, all these years later, I admit they were too much, in particular the ones where I threatened him. There were incident reports from his HR department due to the harassment I had done. There were several police reports as well. Videos of me driving by his house, parking outside of his new place. He took the videos. He knew I was watching, so we weren't as sneaky as we thought we were. The final incident that made me think long and hard and convinced me to snap out of it was when me and my sister were following him in her car, and we got pulled over by the police. We were detained. My ex had called emergency services. That was the moment that made me realize I had gone too far. That was, of course, included. It scared me. My mum was devastated when she saw all the information. She was crying and weeping, asking me and my sister on how could we have done this. Believe me, it was damaging. It did not paint us in a good way. There was no excuse for what me and my sister did. I can't believe how unhinged I was. My ex's lawyer was not working for the state. He was the one who gathered everything. He was very friendly and not aggressive at all. He told us my ex just wanted this solved and be done with it. Very professional, not like they appear on TV or shows. He was like, you messed up bad, but we don't want to screw you 100%. At that time, I asked my attorney if we could fight the charges or do something about it. He said we could, but we would have to find someone else. He was not taking it. He told us this had been going on for a long time and would be lucky if I stayed out of prison. He did not hold back. There were tears, fights, and blames between my mum, my sister, and me. I contacted my uncle, my mum's older brother, who has always been a father figure. He met with a lawyer as well. When he saw all the evidence and heard all the story, his eyes filled with tears. He could not believe what we had done. Still, 10 years later, our relationship had not recovered. He looked so shocked. He said he had failed. The look of disappointment in his face is something that still haunts me. He told the three of us to take the deal, accept the restraining order, the probation, the misdemeanor, as it was the best we could get, and it could get very ugly if we fought it, including possible jail time. We came to an arrangement. He would reach the prosecutor. I had to go in front of a judge and admit to it all. The prosecutor was there. He was the one that recommended the terms. I would accept the restraining order, no contact, probation for 3 years, community service, a big fine, therapy, group therapy. My ex was not present. His lawyer was, but said nothing. The judge was very harsh. She did not mince words. She told me people have done prison time for less. That I was lucky my ex-fiancé had spoke so kindly about me, the prosecution. Otherwise, she would have imposed a more severe punishment. She asked me directly if I knew the difference between a felony and a misdemeanor. She explained it. She asked how would I feel if the roles were reversed and my ex had done all these things to me? How would my family feel about it? That one hit hard and we all cried. Terrible, terrible things I did. She had me read out loud some of the emails and texts and transcripts of the voice messages I had sent my ex and Sandy. It was so bad, it still rattles me. She asked me, what was I thinking? My attorney several times tried to say something, telling the judge that it was summarized, but she told him to shut up and to keep reading. She said I had to be accountable for all of this. I was crying so hard when I read the messages. It was terrible. Even when I was sobbing, the judge made me pause, compose myself, and then to keep reading. The ones we sent Sandy were the worst of all. She made me read them all. My mum and my sister and me were crying the whole time. My lawyer was shocked about the reaction of the judge. It was horrible, long, time-consuming, expensive, and it was all on me. The judge said at the end that she was not pleased with the results, and if it were up to her, my punishment would be severe. My lawyer was rattled and told us we were lucky, as he had worked with this judge before and had never seen her so upset. I had to get a bank loan at terrible rates to pay my mother and all this mess. My ex did not want any restitution, so he did not go the civil court way, which my lawyer told me that once again we were lucky because we'd have to pay a lot of money due to the amount of evidence and the length of time it had been going on. We got a separate private agreement. The lawyer made it clear that this was not a reward for my actions but a generosity as he wanted to move on cleanly. At the end, my ex would let me keep the car. It was his, I was using it, transfer the title to me, and he would pay for therapy. I did not see this coming. I was so caught up with the drama and thinking stupid scenarios that it hit me hard. Still, at the end, he was being the better person. The lawyer provided me with a list of therapists. The first two were no good, the third one was the best. After the 6 months were up, I contacted his attorney and asked if my ex would be willing to pay for more sessions. His lawyer said my ex agreed if I kept my part of the bargain and not contact him ever again. He paid for an additional year of therapy. That was in 2016 to 2017. He got married in 2018. Of course, I was not invited to the wedding. All of my old group of acquaintances who I thought were my friends stopped contacting me and cut me off. That tells me something right. The wife of one of my ex-friends, let's call her Jenny, was pretty much the only one of the group that had anything to do with me. She got divorced from her husband shortly after my trial, even though she did not say. I believe it was related to all this Sandy ordeal. We meet every once in a while. Later on, she was the one who showed me the posts and the pictures of my ex's wedding. His wife seems nice enough, however looks simple and bland. They have 2 kids now. I had a meltdown when I saw the pictures and it took me a lot to contain myself. Regarding best friend Sandy, what can I say? She was indeed the best man at his wedding. She wore a tux with a bow tie and everything. She seemed very close to his new wife. Had plenty of pictures together being friendly and going out. Some at the beach. Had a bachelor party at San Diego instead of Las Vegas. I believe for a convention or event or show of some sort. Costumes and all that. A lot of pictures. Some at bars smoking cigars and drinking. A couple of male friends with them as well. Some I knew and recognized. Some I didn't. The old group was at the wedding. I had a ton of questions in my old posts that I could never answer, so I will do it now. I did not kill myself, neither did my sister. Yes, I checked his phone, he didn't care about it. No, he did not check mine. He could if he would have wanted. He did not. Yes, I was honest. I did leave out some parts, like finding his new place and calling his work, following him around, and some more things I can't remember. Yes, I lost my job at the time. That's the main reason I had so much time on my hands. The box of toys were not sex toys. There were some action figures and some ships or cars. I stopped posting because my lawyer told me to shut it all down. I told my therapist about it and she said it was not the smartest move to take advice from strangers who only get a fraction of the story, and even though it was a nice way to vent, it was not good to follow shitty advice. Yes, I was definitely a lot to handle, and making demands were not the correct way to go. I can see it now. Sad. A very sad time for me. I have no excuses. Yes, sad feelings of abandonment. Yes, I've gotten help. A lot of help. Yes, I was angry. Mostly angry at myself. Yes, I was an idiot and got exactly what I deserved. His family is not wealthy. They are maybe above middle-class American. He did, or does, very well in his work. He also has a younger sister whom I did not mention. She was nice to me at first, then she stopped interacting with me. I think she did not like me. This was way before the breakup. I was immature and learned that ultimatums are not good unless you can live with the results of them. I was selfish and entitled. Boy, was I entitled. Mum was very protective of me and my sister. I was kind of like the golden child, so I felt I deserved things that were not my right. I was focusing on the wrong things. My job was in retail and still is. Yes, she was always happy to see him. No, she was never rude to me. No, she did not insult me. No, my ex did not pay her things, not that I was aware. She was okay financially, but I think that's because he's the father of her kids. Pretty sure my ex was not the father of her kids. They are very similar to their father. I'm not sure about the sneaking around when they were teens. She would sleep at his house, maybe in the same bed. His parents didn't care or didn't know. Yes, one time he was gone for about a week for something school related, and she stayed at his parents' house in his room while he was away. Yes, when they were in college she would stay in his dorm, apartment, can't remember. He works in IT, or worked in IT, made or makes very good money. He was an expert in Zap or SAP or TAP. I remember he spoke about it all the time. I have to admit, I was stalking him. I crossed the line and did not respect his limits. I was not thinking straight. I noticed some of the messages were egging me on and telling me I should confront him, find his new place, send him messages, not to beg, that I would wear him down, that he would come crawling back. Not very bright on my part. Only a couple of people called me out and told me I was wrong and acting crazy. Some offered help, some contacted me directly telling me to reach out to a professional, some let me vent. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. The rest was just feeding my anger, my ego, my entitlement. I recently read all the crap I wrote. I can't believe some people would think it was okay or justified to act the way I did. It is not completely understandable to demand an answer or an apology from someone who has made it clear that does not want to be contacted. Only one Redditor posted that they were only getting one side of the story and that the community should stop enabling me. Thank you. Some things I did not mention, like the car was his. I was the one using it. He paid our rent and all the services at our apartment. When he left, he removed himself from the lease and paid for the last 3 months. I was on my own after that and could not afford it. That was the reason why I moved with my sister. Yeah, he left all the furniture and electronics when he moved. He only took his things even though he had purchased all the rest. I sold some, took some, and gave a little bit away. Jenny from the friend group used to say Sandy wasn't one of them, and at the time I didn't question that the way I should have. I think that was the same reason my ex's older sister didn't like her. She was always a little snobbish. She said Sandy was like a stray that her brother had adopted. When I asked her to elaborate, she said it was because her family was trailer trash, Sandy's. She was always at their house. That my ex would feed her, teach her manners, help her at school, and then send her on her way back to the hood, and for that reason, Sandy followed him around, hence a stray. My ex and his family grew up in a very nice neighborhood. Sandy's family was on the other side of the road, if you get the meaning. How did they meet? I think it was some kind of summer camp when they were 8 or 9 years old, elementary school. How did we meet? He was with some friends. I was with my sister at a bar and they brought us a round of drinks and invited us over to join them. He was very extrovert and friendly, very confident. I'm kind of introverted and not so friendly. He was handsome, was tall, wore thick rimmed glasses, and gave him a nerd look. He did not like to wear contacts. He was in shape and had a nice smile. Yeah, in those days, I would think that Sandy was way out of my ex-fiance's league. Regarding Sandy's ex, he was wealthy, older than us. A couple of times he took us on holidays all inclusive on his dime. I don't know the reason why he divorced, but at my ex's wedding, I saw him in the pictures. He did not seem to care about my ex and Sandy's relationship. He was a really sophisticated guy and seemed like a good father to his kids. After Jenny's divorce, all the friend group cut her off. I'm still in touch with her every once in a while, but would not consider her a friend. Yes, my ex paid for the holidays and the trips. We went to Germany once for some work training. I did not like it very much as I was alone for the whole time. Yes, I was judgmental, and I think the social status clouded me. No, I'm not still stalking him. Every once in a while, curiosity gets the best of me, and I snoop on his wife's social media or one of his friends. My therapist mentioned one thing that the judge said that has stayed with me. How would I feel, or how would my family feel if my ex did everything I did? It would be scary, very scary, and I would probably be traumatized. I wanted to post this long update because it's very important to get the message across. Actions have consequences. I faced and am still facing mine. We are only getting one side of the story. I must confess, when me and my sister did all those things, we felt right and justified. For some reason, I believed I could change the outcome of something I had created. If it was a man doing these things to me, my sister or my daughter, I would be terrified. I've been to support groups, therapy sessions, victims advocacy, did a lot of community service. I heard horrifying stories with horrifying results. Justice was kind to me. I did not know what my ex told the prosecutor or if he spoke with a judge or sent a letter, but I was lucky. People have gotten more for less. My ex could have been cruel. He could have requested the judge for the maximum penalty, a felony charge that would have most certainly have landed me in prison. He could have taken his car back. He could have not paid for therapy. He did not. He just wanted to be left alone. The judge made it very clear that she was not happy with the end result. My lawyer told me so. Help your friends, help your community. If someone close to you is having trouble with obsessive behavior, anger issues, harassment, depression, troubled thoughts, get them help, listen to them. If you're in a dark place, it's okay to ask for help. There is no shame in it. Once in a relationship, it is on you and on your partner how much you have to reveal about your past. Honesty is good, but not a deal breaker. We all carry luggage, and we all have a past that we cannot change. No means no. This will definitely be my last update. I'm done with this saga. It's been 10 years and that's enough. Also, I finally learned what TLDR stands for. So, TLDR, girl finds old Reddit post, updates, gets what she wants, gets consequences, gets help, learns, and gets better. It was interesting after this whole saga that the way it escalated was absolutely terrifying. And in some ways, whilst OP seems to be reflecting on their past behaviors and working on it in therapy, which is a good thing because otherwise she should still be out there doing what she was doing before. But there's still some little tiny hints of it at the same time. She still took a dig at the wife, like saying, however, she looks simple and bland. And then there was the whole part with the photos, or was she looking up online about her ex and how his life is and how the wedding went and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, oh dear, this doesn't sound good at all. It's wild to see the post from like the other side, because usually we hear the story from the person who's being stalked, but this time we're seeing it from the other perspective, which was wild in itself for me. Like in some of the first parts of the updates where they're making like constant excuses for themselves. Oh, you know, I'm doing it because of this, and they're taking it the wrong way. They're overreacting. And then you got this friend of hers who seems to be shit stirring constantly at the same time. Is it Jenny, was it? Who sounds like she's just not helpful to Opie at all, and is only going to feed her to continue the kind of behavior. Parts of me thinking this isn't good. But OP said that they're never going to come back into this post again. So now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. Bloody hell, that was a long one. I just looked at the timeline there. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And as always, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, for liking the video, for sharing the video, for being involved, for commenting, to being wonderful to each other. It's always absolutely wonderful. So thank you so much. And hopefully I'm going to see you in the next one. Take care and much love.